I don't think JaVale wants to be done playing yet, but you don't have to wait these days. But as far as athlete podcast, JaVale, I don't believe he has one, but he's definitely going to have one soon because he seems to know his way around a microphone and he's charismatic. And I think people will listen. I mean, you talk about stories and really just trying to change the label or narrative that you may have. I mean, JaVale, he got clowned a lot earlier in his career.
JaVale McGee.
Yeah, and the whole Shaq and the Fool thing. And, part of that is just growing up and maturing. And I feel like JaVale has done that. He's turned himself into a multiple-time champion. So shout out to JaVale for being in our booth here. We started it off with the Drive guys, and then that really kicked off everything else for him. And with that being said, he was on the Deuce and Mo podcast. And Keegan Murray came up, and this is what he had to say about Keegan.
What do you see in his potential?
Comfortability. I just think he needs to be more comfortable in himself. I think he needs to, it's going to sound weird, but coming from a person who was in the locker room with him, I think he needs to up his off the court energy. I'm a guy who knows what guys are doing, and Keegan doesn't do anything. He goes to the gym and goes home and then goes back to the gym maybe 2 a days and like that, but he's very focused on basketball, and I just think he needs to socialize a little bit more just so he can and it'll show up on the court. And that's just my personal opinion of it, because he's so locked into basketball. Like, it doesn't make not going to no dinners, he's going back to the hotel, ordering food, he's gonna watch film. And I'm just like, absolutely, you need to be locked in to that aspect, but you need to squeeze a little bit of fun in there also, just because you're in the NBA, you're making millions of dollars, and you need to. It's just a balance. And I'm not telling him to go out to the club or anything like that.
I can't even picture that.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not telling him any of that energy, but I'm saying you're in New York for 4 days. You need to be going to dinner for 2 of those days and enjoying some time with your friends. I'm not telling you to drink or anything, but you need to be enjoying the city and reaping the benefits of your spoil, because you worked this hard to get here. Go to Times Square and be a tourist.
I love that perspective. I
don't know if confused is the right word, but
I'm concerned. That's for sure.
You're concerned.
That is honestly like some of the most, not damning because it's easily fixable, but Keegan has to fix that. Like, you cannot be like that in the NBA and be on a championship team. There's shout out Bill Simmons' Book of Basketball. The Book of Basketball is literally the entire premise of the entire book is the secret to basketball, the secret to winning basketball isn't about basketball. It's about relationships. It's about the fact that these are 5 guys on the floor at the same time that are all pulling on the same string and fighting towards a common goal. And you're not going to be connected like that if you aren't going to team. I don't know about team dinners, but even like, Sabonis, we've seen Sabonis have Chris Duarte and
he went golfing with them.
That's fine. But it's not, you got to be more than that. It's dinner. Like, it's talking, it's having conversations after the game and saying what went wrong. Man, that's crazy. Talking about your life. Like, I think those are the things that make a team an actual team. And yeah, you can be an individual and be individually great. I'm not saying it's going to stunt Keegan's development at all, but if you want to be on a championship team and be a real cog, you have to be involved. You cannot, like, Greg Popovich brings his teams out for team dinners all the time. He's notorious for doing it even with players that aren't on his team anymore. That's how you win. You win as a group. You don't win as an individual. And I honestly think that JaVale's doing him a solid there by not putting him more on blast and kind of making it seem like it's not that big of a deal. But he even laid out, like, we're going to dinner and he's going straight up to his hotel room and ordering DoorDash. Like, that's antisocial. And I just don't think you can be that on a championship team. You have to try and be a part of the team.
I don't know, man. I mean, JaVale, I would love to maybe get a little bit more clarity, because it felt like he was more so talking about enjoying himself. It didn't strike me as much as far as the not creating a relationship with his teammates. It struck me as just maybe he's too obsessed with basketball. So I would just maybe need some clarity there. But to me, I think it does all come back to what we expect from Keegan. And I know we've talked about it a lot with that team meeting and how it came out that Keegan did speak a lot during the team meeting. So, I mean, he's grinding basketball, right? I mean, I guess I'm trying to, again, I would need a little bit more clarity because for me, I am less concerned about Keegan, maybe because for what I see Keegan to be on this team, I think Keegan can still fill his role because I don't see Keegan as a future captain of this squad, right?
I don't even think it's a leadership thing, though. It's just, again, being a part of the team. If everybody's doing things and it's like, oh, you know, it's impossible to get him out there.
But we don't know if it's right. I don't know how much of this, because at one point, and maybe it's just semantics or, you know, I don't want to say a slip of the tongue, but he's go hang out with your, JaVale said friends.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm confused as to whether it's, hey, we're all going out, you know, to have to, it's not a team dinner, but we're all going out to dinner and Keegan is never there. I just need to know what he's actually, is De'Aaron, I just need to know what he's actually missing.
Well, I don't know what the concern would be if he's too obsessed with basketball. Like, I mean, if the
but that's what
concern is
that's what JaVale was saying. He's going back and he's watching film.
Yeah, I heard that as like, he's just concerned about individual, not concerned, but like, he doesn't see the value in just team chemistry, and not necessarily in team chemistry, but in team bonding and going out of your way and making yourself uncomfortable and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. Keegan, to me, screams somebody who likes what he likes and doesn't like to step out of the box. When he was a rookie, you know, it was all the, what's your favorite food? What do you, hamburgers. I like hamburgers. I like cheeseburgers. I like fries. What did he say he likes for breakfast? A fruit cup and some eggs and whatever. Like, I think it's stepping outside of your comfort zone. And part of that is, going, if you don't want to, you know, JaVale's saying you don't got to go to the club or whatever, but one night, you know, what does that do for team? You know, if the guy who never shows up, the friend who's got the kid and never shows up, the day he does show up, it's the best day ever. And you try and maximize everything. And you're telling stories for weeks about, oh my God, Keegan came out. Doesn't even matter if he did anything, but the fact he was there and, you know, I saw him stand in the corner awkwardly with his drink or whatever. Like all that stuff matters to me. In my opinion, all that stuff is what separates the really good teams from like the great teams, the teams that have connectivity. The fact that the two Jays have been playing together for 10 years and Jalen and Jason, like, I think that stuff matters. And, you know, I just don't see not even just the Keegan. I don't see a lot of that from the team across the board. Like, I don't see De'Aaron and a ton of people hanging out. De'Aaron seems like he's a guy who's pretty much to himself. Sabonis seems to invite a lot of guys out to his house and wineries and things like that. But
he's like, you got to come to me though. I'm not going to you.
Exactly. I truly do think that this is a really big factor that is probably not going to get talked about a lot. But I do think that this is a really, really big issue because I just wholeheartedly believe that anybody who has played at a high level of basketball will tell you that kind of stuff matters. Going out and being a team matters. And I don't know if that's exactly what JaVale's pointing at, but he definitely said it. He definitely said he's not going out to dinners. He is going up to his hotel and watching film by himself. Even if it's watching film with a teammate, I think that's better than just being a solo dolo guy, especially when you do have a certain level of expectation on your shoulders.
916-339-1140. Does Keegan need to be more social to help reach his potential and help the team reach their potential? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Our first year as the radio